Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the adventurous Von Manor, where it's another action-packed Hall of Adventure. Yes, Hall of Adventure. It's not the normal day that Roger and I do Hall of Adventure, but you know, next week I've got this vacation coming up, and I probably won't have time to do this. I probably won't get any books at all next week. But I've got some now to talk about, so let's go through these books. What has arrived at the manor since our last Hall of Adventure? Because, you know, this guy's always getting books. So, yes, let's find out what we've got here at the manor for this week's Hall of Adventure Weekend Edition. Okay, so this first book I found out about from the great booktube channel, Book Time with Ryan. So Book Time with Ryan is an awesome channel. I'm going to link it down below because I'm surprised not everybody watches this channel. Everybody should watch this channel. This channel is fantastic. And Ryan at Book Time with Ryan was talking about this book, which I had heard of, but didn't know much about, and that is this one. This is The Purple Land by W.H. Hudson, an old-timey book. The Purple Land, originally titled The Purple Land That England Lost, I believe. That was the original title. And Book Time with Ryan talked all about this book, and I thought, you know what? I've never read this. I need to get this book. And so I got this really great edition. This is a Cameo Classics edition from Grosset and Dunlop. And these Cameo Classics editions were published late 30s through the 40s, I believe. I'm not sure at what point this one was published, but I do know Cameo Classics, they were printed through the 30s and 40s. So it's old, whatever it is. And it's a really nice edition. Now this, The Purple Land, is no longer considered a classic as far as I can tell by any of the classic reprint houses. They could certainly print this because it is in the public domain, of course, but Penguin doesn't do one, Oxford doesn't do one. So it has fallen out of classic status, but I did want to read it, and I hear it's pretty darn good. And this is a nice edition of it. It's got some cellophane on it, probably to protect the cover there, the cameo of the Cameo Classics. It's got a really cool title page. You'll see the illustration there. And it has all these illustrations of the characters from the book. It's really cool. I was pretty impressed when I opened it. I got all these cool character drawings. Yeah. The Purple Land. So this is pretty cool. It's got that crinkly cellophane, but it's really, really cool. So I was happy to get this, and I'm glad that Book Time with Ryan told me about this book. So here, I've got this book. That is the first thing that I got. The second thing is Dante. Dante. Apparently, it's about my cat that I used to have. His name was Dante too, but I'm pretty sure this is a different Dante. Now, this is the Harvard Classics edition. This is a hardcover made of that in the, what was it, 89 probably? 89. I was right. So 1989 of the version of the Harvard Classics edition of Dante. I don't know if this is complete or not. It seems short to me. So if anyone knows, let me know. I'm curious because it does seem a little light on the Dante, if you get what I'm saying. So that was the classic-y stuff that I got. I've got some other stuff that's just fun. I got this one, which I was pretty happy to get. This is the Everoid Chronicles. The Everoid Chronicles by Clark Ashton Smith. These are his Everoid stories. His Everoid cycle of stories. And it's got a really kind of a cool cover on it. I think this is pretty cool. This is from Hippocampus Press, paperback from Hippocampus Press. And yeah, I love Clark Ashton Smith, of course, so I was pretty happy to get this one. This one looks really cool. So yeah, I've got this. Clark Ashton Smith is always worth reading. And this next one, I was particularly excited to get. This is an Otto Penzler anthology, a newer Otto Penzler anthology. This is one of his big books. This is the big book of Victorian mysteries. I mean, who wouldn't want this book? The big book of Victorian mysteries. Now, I did notice something as soon as I found this, and that is that for a big book from Otto Penzler, it's not that big. Like if you were to compare this to his earlier big books, it's a lot smaller and lighter. It still is double columned, so it's a long anthology, and it would take a long time to read. This one is 623 pages of double columned pages, but that's a couple hundred pages shorter, I believe, than a lot of his other anthologies. And I was wondering about that, and I'm wondering if this anthology has become a victim of higher paper prices. I know that's been going on. So I'm wondering if this is a victim of that. I have no idea. But it does seem short for an Otto Penzler anthology. But still, it's going to be great. He does great anthologies, Otto Penzler. And the big book of Victorian mysteries. Yeah. Who wouldn't want to read that? I was happy to get this. Really happy to get this. So yeah, there are those things. Now I've got some smaller paperbacks. I went by the neighborhood free library, the little free library. I was dropping off a book at the little free library. And they had a book that I actually wanted. I read this once before in 1989 or 1990. It was a long time ago. But I've been wanting to read this again because I was pretty young when I read it. And that would be this one. Anne Rice's The Mummy, or Ramses the Damned. I remember liking this one an awful lot. And it's been a long time since I've read any Anne Rice at all. And I've really been intending to read Anne Rice again, because I really like Anne Rice. So, yeah, The Mummy. See if it's as good as I remember it being. This has gotten some mixed reviews, I believe. But a lot of her books have, so we'll see. But for a free library book, this was usually the books in the free libraries are not, they're not books that I would particularly want, you know, because I'm not into like yoga or baking or anything. That's usually the kind of stuff you'll find, or novels about lawyers. No, thank you. But this is cool, so I was happy to get this. Now, I picked up a couple westerns this week. You might have seen my video announcing June on the Range. Bunch of really cool people are doing June on the Range. Gonna have to check out June on the Range. So I picked up actually a couple westerns. And the first one, I remember seeing it when it came out. And I didn't get it because I thought, because it's written by an actor, a former movie actor, and I thought, some book by a movie star, whatever. But I've been told since then that this is actually a good book, so we'll see. This is by Gene Hackman. You remember Gene Hackman? There he is. He was Lex Luthor in Superman. So anyway, he wrote this book, Payback at Morning Peak, his first Western novel. I don't know if it's his first book or not, but this is his first Western novel. Apparently, Gene Hackman's Payback at Morning Peak, and I have to admit, it sounds really good. And I've heard in the comments, since I've started talking about reading Westerns for June on the Range, a couple of people have mentioned this book. And so I thought, you know what? I'm going to get this book. So I got this book. And it actually looks like it's going to be pretty good. So I'm happy to get this one. The next one I got is book 1 in the Trusty Dawson U.S. Deputy Marshal's Western series, which is this one. This is Lost Mountain Pass. Now, Lost Mountain Pass by Larry D. Sweezy. I guess there are only a couple of these. I thought I'll give this a try. Now, the weird thing about this paperback is that it's a weird size. Here you have Gene Hackman's book is a normal mass market. This one is weirdly big. You'll see that it's wider and a little bit taller. So it's just weirdly shaped. I don't know why they did this. Why did you do this? Maybe just so it'll show out more on the shelf? I don't know. It's not like it has a great cover. It's just a deputy star. Woo! This is a victim of the modern boring cover designs. But we'll see. I never judge a book by its cover. So we'll see how this is. So yeah, those are the Westerns I got. Then I got some science fiction stuff, because I always tend to get science fiction stuff. Because Roger, like I said, he has a taste for that kind of thing. The first couple of these are not particularly old, but I picked them up anyway. This is Simon R. Green's Twilight of the Empire, from the New York Times bestselling author of the Deathstalker War, which I have not read, and I have not read this one either. This is actually a collection of 3 novels. What do we have in here? We have Mist World, Ghost World, and Hell World. And, I got it because the cover looked fun. This looked fun. It looked like a fun, cheesy space opera nonsense. And so I got it. I thought, I could read a big, cheesy space opera nonsense book. One of these days, I'll read this. By the time I read it, it probably will be vintage because I've got so many books to read. But, I'll read it one day, and it looked fun, so I got it. This one I got, this is a very early 90s cover. This is a banned book's The Future at War. This is the second volume, The Spears of Mars, Volume 2. There was a few of these. They all dealt with different things. This one dealt with alien invasions. About future war, so it's kind of like a military sci-fi thing. But it's got Paul Anderson, Orson Scott Card, Fred Saberhagen. And interestingly, it has some articles in it. It has short stories, but it also has a few articles. And one of the articles is by Carl Sagan. So I thought, I love Carl Sagan, and this looks like fun. I'll pick it up. Carl Sagan got me to buy this. And it has a short story version of Ender's Game. Did Ender's Game start off as a short story? Because it's a short story in this book. If that's true, I wasn't aware of it. I just thought it was a novel. But, there are a lot of things I don't know. So, it's in here. So that should be interesting. The Future at War. It's edited by Reginald Bretner. And it's possible, it's entirely possible I got this next one only because the title made me laugh. In fact, it's pretty likely this next one I got only because the title made me laugh, and that would be Gnome Man's Land. It's Gnome Man's Land. Look at those. It's a bunch of gnomes that cause trouble and attack. It's No Man's Land. It made me laugh, so it takes a lot for me to get a book. I mean, it wasn't my decision either. It was Roger. Roger chuckled at this. I mean, look at him. He's laughing now. So, yeah, No Man's Land. It made me laugh. No Man's Land did. The next is an old Ace paperback, The Sunless World. Look at those guys. Those guys live in the Sunless World. This is The Sunless World by Neil R. Jones. Now, I didn't take it. I looked at this cover and I just got it. Apparently, this is the second volume in the Professor Jameson Space Adventures. This is Professor Jameson Space Adventure number 2, The Sunless World. So now I'm going to have to try to find, I suppose, the Professor Jameson Space Adventures Volume 1, whatever that was. I've never heard of Professor Jameson. I probably should have, but now I've got this book and I can learn all about Professor Jameson in the Sunless World. That looked pretty cool. Now this next one, it's possible I just got this next one just because I liked the cover. You know, don't judge a book by the cover, but sometimes you get a book because it has cool monsters on it, and that I liked. I liked this monster. Sword Ships of Scorpio by Alan Burt Akers. Now, this is apparently the 4th title in the Scorpio series, which I didn't realize when I got it, but it is. So I have many more Scorpio books to find. I don't know how long the Scorpio series went. Maybe they all had cool monsters on the cover. I don't know. But I thought it was pretty cool. Next is an ace double, but it's a late ace double. It's from 1970. I usually think of ace doubles from the 50s and into the 60s, but I guess I didn't realize they kept publishing ace doubles all the way into the early 70s. This is the Noblest experiment in the galaxy. It has a really annoying 59-cent sticker there. If you flip it over, you have another annoying 59-cent sticker for the Communipaths. So the Communipaths is by Suzette Hayden Elgin, and the Noblest experiment in the galaxy is by Louis Trimble. So, yeah, from 1970, this ace double. But it was an ace double, so I got it. And this next one, I know, I get too many books. This next one is David Grinnell's Across Time. Across Time. Now, this is very much the kind of thing I'm going to pick up as soon as I see it. David Grinnell's Across Time. Of course, it had everything going for it, this little paperback. Across Time. The next book is an anthology. This is Star of Stars, edited by Frederick Foll. The best stories from the famous Star collections of anthologies. There are a few Star anthologies that I've already got, but this is the Star of Stars. Look at all those guys that are in this book. So, you know, I love science fiction short stories. I love science fiction short stories. I love horror short stories. And so I'm a sucker for anthologies from science fiction and horror anthologies both. So the next one, getting close to the end here, guys, I promise, is another Robert E. Heinlein, Methuselah's Children. Look at that cool cover for Methuselah's Children. It's fancy. So it's a Heinlein book, which I don't think I've got. I don't think I had Methuselah's Children, so now I do. So of course I had to get it. Now, normally I save the best for last, my favorite book for last, but I have two favorites this week. Two books came into the manor which I was really, really excited about. So these are the best of the bunch this week. The first one is the first paperback edition. This is the first paperback edition of Demons by Daylight by Ramsey Campbell. Demons by Daylight from Ramsey Campbell. This is, at this point, this is pretty much a legendary collection of short stories. And look how cool it is. Look at that naughty demon. They look like they're having a good time on this cover. Demons by Daylight. I don't believe that this is in print at the moment. It is available as an ebook, so you can get it. You can get this on Kindle, but I don't think it's in print. But it's a pretty famous anthology, and S.T. Joshi, the famous Lovecraft scholar and editor of many Penguin Classics editions for horror. He did the Penguin Classics edition of Arthur Machen and of Algernon Blackwood and Lovecraft, of course. He was trying to convince Penguin to print this as a Penguin Classic. He has this collection in such high regard that he thinks it should be a Penguin Classic, Demons by Daylight. And so I'm going to read it, of course. If Joshi says it's that good, I definitely want to read it. And maybe we will get a Penguin Classics edition of this book someday. I'm hoping. We'll see. That'd be fun. So the last thing I have to show you is probably my favorite thing that I got this week. And I was really, really happy to get this. You'll understand when you see it. Elric. Stormbringer, the Elric Saga Volume 2. I did a video on the first volume of the new Fancy Pants Elric edition. This is beautiful. The second volume is just as lovely as the first volume. Has another great cover. Has the wonderful map of Elric's world. Nice illustration there as you open it up. It does have some color illustrations. This was a cover to the previous Del Rey set. This was the cover of the first volume of that. And it's got some other nice Elric illustrations in there. Yeah, this is a really cool volume of Elric Stormbringer. So this volume has which books are in here? Has the Vanishing Tower, has the Revenge of the Rose, the Bane of the Black Sword, and of course Stormbringer. Now there still is one more volume coming. I think the last time I checked it was coming in October, but maybe it'll come out before that. I'm hoping so. Because he did write some more Elric books, I think in the early 2000s, was it? So those books are going to be collected in the third volume. And then, coming up, we've got a brand new Michael Moorcock Elric novel coming in hardcover. So it's a good time to be an Elric fan. We're getting Elric in really, really nice editions. This is beautiful. So yeah, of course, this is the best. Probably even outshining Demons by Daylight. I was pretty happy to get this particular volume. So there you go. The weekend edition of Halls of Adventure. Okay, guys, so I probably won't be doing this again for a while because I won't have a chance to buy any books. I mean, not that I buy. I mean, it's Roger. I mean, by the time I get back to the manor, there'd be piles of books here, you know, because I have Roger watching the manor while I'm gone because, you know, he's good at that. Hopefully there won't be corpses piled up everywhere. That tends to happen when I leave Roger home alone. But there you go. I hope you enjoyed it. I will catch you next time. Hopefully I'll have a Sunday Penguin up. I'm hoping to have one up. And I will catch you then. Okay, guys. See ya.